If you've been listening to this podcast, you've probably heard an episode called The Power of Play. Well, this week, we're going to be taking a deeper dive into what play is all about and how the mindset of your dog during play is equally as important as just playing with your dog. You ready? Let's dive into it next. All right, welcome to this week's episode of the Learn, Laugh, Bark podcast. I am your host, Jake from ondogtrainingacademy.com. At ondogtrainingacademy.com, you can find courses. We have full-length courses, which will show you or give you over 5 hours of training guidance, as well as having a year access to that course, private community where you can comment, and just all around good time, good knowledge. We also have mini courses where you can jump in and you can just watch little snippets of maybe certain courses that we have set that we think just there's certain information that maybe could be pulled out of it that would be useful in a smaller sample. So we have our mini courses as well. We'll be producing webinars and a lot more content for you guys. So check out ondogtrainingacademy.com. You can hit the subscribe button. There you'll be put into our email list. Now, we don't email a ton because we don't want to bug you. We understand that sometimes over-emailing, trust me, we've been quote-unquote victims of this. Over-emailing can get a bit annoying, especially like right now is December 2nd here, and we understand it's around the holidays, emails come flooding in. I promise if you guys subscribe to our email list, we are only going to be sending you updates on courses and new things and exciting things happening. We do not flood your inbox. So if that is interesting, if you're interested in that, jump over to our website on the upper right-hand side. You'll see subscribe. Click on that and get in our email list so you can stay up to date on what's happening at ondogtrainingacademy.com. Now, like you might have heard in the intro, today we are going to be looking deeper into playing with your dog. Like I mentioned, we did a podcast episode a while back called The Power of Play, and we're talking about proper play and kind of like how playing with your dog is super important when it comes to bonding and everything. Well, in this week's episode, I want to take a dive into it more and talk about the mindset of play. What is the mindset you want to strive for and look for when it comes to playing with your dog? Now, if you might have recalled in that previous episode, and if you haven't heard it yet, you can certainly go anywhere where you listen to podcasts and you can find that episode. I don't have the exact date, but you can find that episode there as well. It's just called The Power of Play. But when we talk about play, we want to make sure we're identifying what good play is, what bad play is, just as a whole. So, bad play could be things like chase me games, possessive games, anything that really is a one-sided deal. Good play is when it's a mutually enjoyable thing, meaning your dog is having fun and so are you. If one or both of the parties involved are not having fun, it's not play. So you always want to strive to make sure that it's a balance. Now, most of the time when you're playing with your dog is enjoying it. Sometimes it's not fun for us. The play style, the energy, something is not enjoyable for us, or just like play style, meaning like keep away, like the dog has something and is running away, and we'll be talking about that in a second here. So it's really good to make sure that you're both enjoying the game at hand. That is what's going to help create that bond, and we talked about that in a previous episode. We also talked about what are some games that are appropriate to be playing with your dog. Things like fetch. Fetch is a great game to play. Tug of war, although it gets kind of a negative association at times, tug of war is an absolute fantastic game to play with your dog. So don't neglect playing tug of war with your dog. I can promise you this isn't a dominance game. This is a give and take game, and we'll talk about a little bit more of that later as well. The other one then is just some simple brain games. Those ones aren't quite as tied into what we're going to talk about today, but brain games are always a good game to play with your dog when maybe getting them outside is less of an option. So there's puzzles, there's scent games, hiding games, things like that you can play with your dog that are extremely valuable as well. So now what I want to talk about is I want to dive into the mindset of play. So when you're playing with your dog obviously is having some sort of association with this game. And that association is going to be really important when it comes to like optimizing the relationship between you and your dog. So when you're playing a game and you let your dog, let's say, we're just going to say tug of war because this is a very common game. You're playing tug of war with your dog and your dog wins. What is your dog's response to that win? You have to ask yourself this. Okay, so when my dog gets the toy, what happens next? A lot of dogs, once they win, they're like, it's mine, I'm gone, try to take it from me, right? And you have to either catch them, swap with them, tell them to drop it, whatever, but their mindset is, I won, it's mine now. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think it's a really good, healthy thing necessarily. I feel like, especially when you're playing like a tug-of-war game, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of a switch in the mindset of the dog when it comes to the game. In my opinion, and this will go whether you're playing fetch or your tug of war or any type of games you're playing with your dog, the value should be in the interaction, not the winning. The interaction meaning tugging with you, giving you the ball so you can throw it again. Not winning the thing, not getting the ball, but just the interaction part of it. That's what we need to strive for. We need to strive for a mindset in play of, I love to play with you, and I don't care what it is. Like, take our dog Luda. We have done so much play building with him and so much game stuff with him that I could literally take anything, whether it's a dog toy or not, in my house and turn it into a game with him. And the reason it's a game with him is because he goes, oh, Dad wants to play with me, Mom wants to play with me. And that's my favorite thing to do, is to play with them. Not play with it, not play with my tug, but play with my tug with Mom and Dad. I want to play with them. And then a lot of times, like with us, if I let him win at tug of war, his mindset isn't run away. His mindset is bring it back. Oh man, I won, that's awesome. However, I want to continue to play. And in order for this game to continue, I need to bring it back. So encouraging that is going to be really important. Now, there's a lot of ways you can go about that, and I feel like the training stuff is something that we could cover in a whole nother long episode. But it needs to be a goal that the mindset of your dog should be the interaction with you is the funnest part. This will leak over into so many different things. If your dog enjoys interactions with you, not just taking toys from you, not playing keep away, but just interacting with you, the training becomes easier. Life becomes easier. You're going to have a dog that wants to be around you and be by you, and just it just leads to so much more joy between you and your dog. If your dog has this mindset of, I win the toy, I win the reward, and I run away, or the mindset of in order to interact with you, I need to get you to chase me. The chase me game is something that is created so regularly by us because dog grabs something and we immediately want to chase them. This isn't something I feel like the dogs, they may naturally have this, but we as humans feed this so much because whether it's kids or adults, dog grabs something, it's a natural instinct to chase after them and try to get it from them. Well, unfortunately, most of our dogs are faster than us, and it becomes extremely difficult to get that thing from them. And it's important that we don't try to chase them down, because more often than not, we will lose. So the dog's mindset then becomes, our interactions, our fun comes when you're trying to get something from me. And that'll turn into a lot of inappropriate behavior, not just in toys and playing, but also in dog grabs a sock or a kid's toy or something off the ground, and you're like, hey, give that to me, and your dog's like, come and take it from me, and then they play keep away, and that's just not healthy. We need that mindset of, hey, when you win, bring it back to me. Let's play this game again. When I throw that ball for you, yeah, the reward is chasing the ball, but it's really fun to bring it back. Not say, hey, come and try to get it from me now. No. In order for this game to be fun, you bring it back. I re-engage you with that fun game and that fun play. It's the mindset. And like I said before, this is going to help you in obedience training. This is going to help you in lifestyle. Just living with your dog becomes more enjoyable when your dog finds you as an important resource when it comes to play. Play is a massive part of dog's life. I mentioned this in the previous episode. And I think we need to tap into it more. We tap into it some, but unfortunately, when we tap into the power of play, we can sometimes take a wrong turn and that play becomes inappropriate, like I've been mentioning. So really take time and think about, like this is a really good test to do. Play tug of war with your dog. When your dog wins, see what they do. What do they do with that thing? Do they run off? Can you get it from them? Or do they bring it back to you? If they run off, well, then you need to work on the mindset, because his mindset or her mindset is come and get it from me, chase it. I won, now you got to try and get it. But if the dog brings it back to you, you're in a really good place where your dog is like, well, that was fun, let's do that again. And that's what you want to start to think about. The mindset of play is going to be something that if you can tap into it and you can get it correctly figured out, it will change your relationship and your dog's relationship massively. You need to become this super high value thing. Like I mentioned with my dog, I can play with anything, and it's not because he thinks everything is a toy. He just thinks that at any time me and him could play a game together. And now I'm not saying you should do this. I could play tug of war with a pen, and my dog would think it's awesome. And then I'd let him win the pen, and he'd bring that pen back to me. I'm not saying I've necessarily tried it, maybe, but it's not something I definitely would say, hey, go do. But I'm just giving this as an example. Like, good play should just be your dog wants to engage with you, and what is involved in that engagement is less important than the engagement with you. So really take some time. Think about this. Think about how you're playing with your dog. Think about how your dog's responses are to playing with you. What are they doing? Are they retreating backwards, or are they coming back into you? To me, this is just huge. So take your time, evaluate your dog, and figure out where they're at and how to make it better. And like I said, that is something that we may touch on in a future episode, or who knows, we might do a course or something with that as well. So hopefully, guys, this was helpful for you. I know this was a shorter episode, but sometimes short and sweet are good, and I actually think that this episode is super important, even though it's shorter. So like always, guys, make sure you check us out on Facebook. It's the Learn, Laugh, Bark podcast on Facebook. We also have our On Dog Training Academy Facebook page, as well as Instagram, and then our website, ondogtrainingacademy.com. Check all those things out. I will put links to all of those in the description of this episode, so definitely check those out. But train your dogs, guys. Play with your dogs. Get that relationship. Get that mindset really awesome, and have fun. And like always, guys, we'll see you next week.